qualified for the World Cup. Go and compete.
Hello, thank you for that lovely welcome. It's lovely to be here. Not from round here. I'm from Stillorgan. Yeah, I moved here in 1990. Now, that was the year Ireland did really well in the World Cup. Their finest hour was when they beat England. 1-1. And I was married to an Irishman for 6 years, and when I first moved here, I'd never heard of 800 years of English oppression. Or as he now says, 806 years. And I've 3 Irish sons now. They don't like me doing this. They don't know I'm here. They think I went to Lidl. Strange place, Lidl, isn't it? Right, you go in for bread and milk. You come out with a wetsuit and a rubber dinghy. Remember when I was having my first son, this nurse said to me,
"What do you think you're doing coming over here stealing our men? Don't you know there's a man shortage in Dublin?"
Well, I gave him back. I did. I was the first divorcee in Ireland. 1996, when they introduced divorce, first in the queue. And it's quite hard bringing up 3 boys. Right, because basically, you're rearing 3 replicas of someone you don't like very much. Now, I had been living in London, but what I liked about Dublin, what really impressed me after London, right, people would say thank you to the bus driver when they got off the bus. I've since discovered they also do that in Liverpool. Could have just moved there. So I got a job on a newspaper, and in the morning people would come in and greet each other.
Yeah, hello, how are you? How's the farm?
And I thought, hell of a lot of people here have farms. There were no shops when I moved here. There was no Marks and Spencers, no Boots, no Tesco, no PC World, no Currys, no Harvey Nichols. It was as if it was a separate independent country. I was living in Dorky, right, but I was pronouncing it Dalkey. No one corrected me. And at first I thought that was nice of them. Then I realised they enjoyed hearing me say it wrong. Because you hate us. This came home to me when Ireland was finally knocked out of the World Cup, and I asked if everyone would be supporting England now. That was the reaction I got. There were very few immigrants in Ireland then, right? I was one of the only ones. Everyone was leaving, right? But after the success of the World Cup, Ireland turned into a vibrant, confident Celtic tiger. And in 1991, after an office romance, I had one of his cubs. In 1993, after a registry office wedding, I had a second son. And in 1995, a third. I didn't get the other 2 christened until I was told I had to so they could start school. They actually walked up to the baptism font in their Kilmacud Croaks kit after GAA practice. Strictly speaking, I'm not sure that those baptisms were even necessary. A few years earlier...
A cup of tea would be grand.
I haven't seen you for a while, Maeve.
I was on holiday, I told you. You must have missed me popping in.
Anywhere nice?
The Holy Land.
Oh, what was it like?
A bit disappointing.
Really?
Yeah. For somewhere that's the cradle of Christianity, there were an awful lot of Arabs and Jews around. Do you know, these days, even here in Holy Catholic Ireland, some parents don't even get their kids baptised.
Well, we never did. I mean, I think it's a matter of, well, anyway, it's nice of you to call round, Maeve, but
Well, we're neighbours. That's the way we do things here. I'll fill the kettle again. And while I'm here, I hereby, in the name of the Father and the Son and the Spirit, is sanctity.
Ma'am, she's splashing us.
What are you doing?
Well, now if they die in the middle of the night, you'll be grand.
So I remember once I was wandering around an old abandoned church with my soon-to-be ex-husband. And he walked up near the altar and I went to follow him.
Stop! Stop! Women aren't allowed near the altar.
Well, that would cut short many a wedding.
No. They're not allowed up into the altar step. It's some old Catholic thing.
Ridiculous.
I know. It must need hoovering sometime.
Some things haven't changed. Like, it still says in the Irish Constitution that a woman's place is in the home. Right? Article 41.2 of the Irish Constitution says...
The state recognises that by her life within the home, women give the state the support without which the common good cannot be achieved. The state shall, therefore, endeavour to ensure mothers shall not be obliged by economic necessity to engage in labour to the neglect of the duties in the home.
And that is where I spent my time. At home, with my sons, picking up jigsaw pieces, putting the lids back on felt pens. My sons look identical. They actually once, going through passport control, they swapped around their passports just to see if they could get away with it, and they did. But they're quite different. Like James, the eldest, he's sensible and a bit of a know-it-all. Liam, the middle one, just wild. Rory, the youngest, he watches out for us all. So one summer, right, I said to their father, right, you can take over, I'm going off to Africa. And I did. I went to Tanzania for a month to help out in a school, where I ended up picking up jigsaw pieces and putting the lids back on felt pens. So one summer, right, I bought a camper van. I thought, right, I'm going to take them away, they can have some happy childhood memories. So we're driving along, it's boiling hot, they're fighting in the back, we're lost. And I lifted both hands up off the steering wheel and screamed. And that's the only thing they remember about the whole holiday.
The day you tried to kill us all.
Remember, I picked up the middle son Liam's guitar once and played a song on it. And he was watching me, he looked quite impressed. And I said, do you think I've got a future?
You've had your future.
Some days I download new software just for the message at the end that says,
You have been successful.
They were always in trouble when they were teenagers. My son's always in trouble. Middle son Liam holds the record for being caught not paying his fare on the Lewis. The only time the two words fine and outstanding have the wrong connotation. He never listened at school. I said to him one day, what did you do at school today?
Well, I cut out all the page numbers from my friend's textbook, so when the teacher said turn to page 55, nobody could.
But sometimes he'd surprise me with knowledge beyond his years.
And that, ma'am, is how Harold Wilson won the support of the British public in the 1960s.
Wow, how did you know that?
The Simpsons.
More often, they would surprise me with what they didn't know. I overheard the three of them discussing Halloween once.
Halloween started in Ireland. Oh, no, it didn't. No, it didn't. It started in America. Yeah, it started in America with Joan of Arc.
When the last state-of-the-art hand dryer had been installed in Dundrum Shopping Centre, along came the big crash. So my bits of freelance work dried up, and I had a lot of time on my hands. So I started doing short spots at comedy clubs here and in England.
Oh, so that's where you go. Much money in that, is there? When will I see you on the telly?
But I decided I could have a life, or I could stay at home and watch over the carpets.
You should stay at home and watch over the carpets.
I was on Ryanair a lot. I do feel sorry for the air hostesses, because I remember a time when being an air hostess was quite glamorous. You know, back in the 50s. Yeah, when being a wife was glamorous. An air hostess now, she's an overworked woman who waits on you while you're sat strapped in a high chair with a little tray table. She brings you a drink with the lid on, constantly repeats safety warnings.
I heard on the radio that Irish people are known for not listening to safety warnings. They came top in a survey as the people most likely to stay put when the fire alarm goes off. I finished my pot of tea in House of Fraser when their alarm went off. I wouldn't have wasted it. I just thought, sure, it'll be grand.
We English go to the other extreme. I saw a big poster at a train station about the dangers of the escalator. And then next to it, there was an army poster. No mention of any danger. Now it's easy for me to go away because the youngest has left to go to university. I never thought he'd get the grades. The only 100% he's ever seen is when his phone's fully charged. But I did quite like taking him around those open days. You know, when you see people clutching brochures and looking forward to a future full of freedom and adventure, while their kids lag behind. But one thing my sons really like about being Irish, now they're a bit older, right, and they've started travelling, they have discovered that their accent...
How you getting on? Do you want a pint or what?
...can get them girlfriends anywhere in the world. Except Ireland. So after a couple of years, I put together material for an hour's show called Embarrassing Mother to take to the Edinburgh Festival. So I enlisted the help of my youngest son. Rory!
What?
Will you take a picture of me for a comedy poster?
Do I have to?
There's no one else here.
Can you not just put it on a self-timer?
Rory!
What?
Can you show me how to put it on self-timer?
All right, just give it here. I'll do it.
Well, at least look at me when you take the picture.
What's that off-the-shoulder thing you're wearing? It's put me off. You're not even wearing a bra.
I am. It's a strapless one. Haven't you heard of them?
No, and neither should you have.
That Christmas, as I filled in my application form for the Edinburgh Festival, I wasn't getting much encouragement from James, the eldest.
Mum, happy Christmas.
Oh, you shouldn't have. A book with an elephant's bum on the front.
Yeah, it's a notebook.
Oh, OK. Made out of recycled elephant poo.
Yeah, it's for writing your shitty jokes.
So to get a bit of publicity before the Edinburgh Festival, I decided to apply to be a contestant on the TV programme Countdown. So I applied, but I thought, they won't have me. But they had me. So that meant going to Manchester for the recording and leaving Liam at home. Liam, there's some fish there for your lunch. I've got to dash to the airport.
You didn't say you were going away.
That was to give you less time to plan parties. Though I see you're texting invites already.
I am not.
Oh, good.
I was putting it on Facebook.
Oh!
What?
I just bit down on something hard. It must be a bit of fishbone. Oh, no, it's half a tooth. I won't be able to smile. I haven't time to think about this. Got to dash to the airport.
Bing bong. The 3:15 to Manchester, now boarding. 3:15 to Manchester, now boarding.
Hi, Mum. It's Liam. I found that bit of tooth where you threw it on the ground. I've just put it in a cup of milk in the fridge so it can be bonded back on.
Really?
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
How do you know that?
The Simpsons.
Well, it's very unlikely.
Yeah, well, now it is, yeah.
Why is that?
Well, it's because Rory's just after drinking it.
Anyway, I lost on Countdown.
I saw you there on Countdown. Beaten by a 16-year-old schoolboy. Must have been awful for you. Did you feel dreadful?
Not really. I just bought a few cans of special brew and went back to the Holiday Inn Express and drank them out of my Countdown mug. While I Googled dentists in Manchester.
Well, I suppose you're at that age now when things are going to drop off and fall out.
So, yeah, age is advancing. I'm 60 next month. Because 1 minute I'm worried about turning 40, and then suddenly I'm here, 60. Time also seems to go quicker, because I've been telling people I'm 60 already, partly to get used to the idea, but I don't, and partly so people will say,
"Oh, you don't look it."
But they don't. So, I am trying to keep fit, though. I've started doing yoga.
Oh, you're doing yoga? Me too. Online classes. I spent an hour once in downward facing dog. Very slow broadband connection.
And I've started doing meditation. That's good for you. Makes you focus on the present and forget old grudges. My mother's found a quicker way. Dementia. She's only in the very early stages. But I knew something was wrong when she started being civil to people. I came off the phone to her. I said to my eldest son, "Oh, she's so annoying." She goes on and on. She says the same things again and again, the same things over and over.
I know. You've told me.
So now my sons have left home, more or less. I could maybe move back to England. I do appreciate England more now than I did when I lived there, but I've never been particularly patriotic. And that's what might make me stay in Ireland. The royals. I just don't want to be a subject. People in Britain, they say, the royals unite the country. But then so does Coronation Street. I honestly think when this present Queen dies, we should seriously consider if we really want another series. So as I come up to 60 and look back on my life, it really hasn't turned out as I expected. Like, as a child, I wanted to be a superhero, or Emma Peel in the 60s TV series, The Avengers. What I really wanted was her outfit. Now, it never struck me that that black rubber catsuit thing was sexualised in any way. I thought it was just like a tracksuit for chasing baddies. And it never struck me as odd either that she was an assistant to Steed who wore a bowler hat and a business suit. So all my career aspirations were leading me towards being a sex worker or a secretary. And to be quite honest, in the 1960s, there wasn't much other choice, or even much difference between the two. So anyway, now I'm an invisible woman. I suppose I am a superhero. And perhaps this comedy career was a way of not being invisible and stepping out into the spotlight. So here I was preparing to go to the Edinburgh Festival, where the vast majority of comics are young men. Very confident men.
Oh, that's true. I was in a piano bar once with a male friend, and he suddenly got up, went over to the piano, raised his hands in the air, and there was this delightful moment with the whole room watching expectantly when I saw it finally dawn on him that he couldn't actually play the piano.
Yeah, and men have statues put up to each other. Very few statues of women. There's a statue of a bloody dog in Edinburgh.
There's the Molly Malone statue in Dublin. There's always a man dressed as a leprechaun standing nearby, collecting money. Her pimp.
And this sense of entitlement, like at the cinema, on a plane, men always take the armrests.
Oh, I know. And what about their knees? The way they sprawl out their knees. How big do they think their penises are?
Because there are more women than men in the world, I think we should change the generic from he to she and say, like, she who dares wins. And if we want to distinguish, we could say doctor, man doctor, writer, man writer.
Yeah, we've already got handle, man handle.
So, at Edinburgh Airport in festival time, it's really, really busy. So I saw this old lady go up to an official and she went, "I've lost my family." Everyone within earshot turned round with a look of sheer envy on their faces. And I was in this really long queue. There was a young couple behind me. They hadn't been going out for very long. And he was telling her his dream and she was listening. And that was how I knew they hadn't been going out for very long. And eventually, an official came over to split up the queue, and he said to me and this guy in front of me,
"Are you two together?"
and we eyed each other up and down and considered it. Well, I don't know if he did. So as I enter this final stage of my life, I'm still single. I will probably die alone. But I've never really understood that expression, to die alone. I mean, what's the alternative? Do you look at your partner and go, "Right, I'm taking you with me"? I've been single for ages, right? The most pleasure I get in bed now is from freshly laundered sheets. That's why I like staying in hotels. Go away for a clean weekend. So I've been single for so long, so I'm used to going places alone. In some restaurants in Japan, they offer single diners a giant cuddly toy to sit opposite them. Right, that would just highlight the situation, really, wouldn't it? But I do remember having a big row with my middle son, Liam, when he was in his mid-teens.
You've got no friends, no one likes you, and what have you ever done with your life?
Well, once I drove across the Sahara Desert on my own. Which is true, but just proved his point, really. So I would go to comedy shows on my own. That could be a bit awkward. Right, because once the MC said to me, "How do you know the other people at your table?" And I had to say, "I don't." But I have found a way to make it more acceptable for me to go to comedy shows on my own. So here I am! Thank you. Very much for listening. She has been Sue Collins. He has been Colm Reid. I am Maxine Jones.